It's basically the pedophile's Bible. Basically, it's like a 400 or 200 to 400 page, basically manuscript type thing, teaching you how to groom kids and what to look for to find kids to groom. Most of my realm starts in child pornography deal. I got a tip on this guy. He basically promoted a video of an adult male having a sexual encounter with a young prepubescent male. My deal is just social media in general. I think that's the world's problem right now. It always seemed like the world was a lot better before social media, but it might not have been. It just wasn't as in your face as it is now.
Yeah. This is the Disruptive Hope Podcast. Hope sees, hope engages, hope belongs, hope builds. Hope disrupts the narrative of despair, and in the tension of holding both sorrow and joy, we invite hope to redefine the lens through which we see and interact with the world. Embrace the challenge and become an agent of hope in unlikely places. Welcome to the Disruptive Hope Podcast. Hey guys, welcome back. We are the Human Trafficking 101 podcast. We're on our second season, and I'm Christy. I'm one of the hosts, and I'm here with the lovely Hannah Wehunt, my co-host. You guys may remember we had a fascinating conversation with Lieutenant Gary Barrow talking about child predators and what he's seeing in law enforcement. And we actually asked him to come back on because we still had so many more questions. So we have Lieutenant Gary Barrow with us again. Thanks for joining us again, Barry.
Thank you,
Gary. We appreciate it. And today we're actually going to be talking about online safety. You brought up so much last time, just around the entire online child abuse material, all the things. So we're excited for this conversation. We appreciate you taking time to have it with us.
Oh, no problem. Glad to be back.
Okay, so let's just dive into the deep end.
Okay.
The big one. Social media. Every child wants social media. Every child is engaged at school with other kids that have social media. What do you think of social media, Gary?
Not to make light of it, but social media is the devil at this point in society. It really is. All of our problems are stemming from social media. I mean, we get everything from domestic violence issues to fights at school to we got shootings and stuff that all start over social media. Somebody talking bad about somebody else, or talking to other people's girlfriends or boyfriends or wives. It's just social media is so easy these days to talk either bad about people or talk to people you shouldn't be talking to. So to me, social media is not a good realm.
Yeah. Well, and we've seen some studies done that traffickers actually predominantly are using social media these days.
Right. It's so much easier because you can hide who you are. I mean, you can be a 40-something-year-old guy, 30-something-year-old guy talking to a 12-year-old and you say, oh, I'm 12 and I go to this school. And bad thing is kids tell a lot about themselves, and it's easy used to groom the kids into getting information and that kind of stuff out of them. So it's like the show Catfish is basically what it is you can be whoever you want to be on the internet, and it's hard to disprove you.
So can you break it down for me? Like if you were to say top five of the no-goes for you, the top 5 most dangerous apps for kids, obviously we're speaking of children here, how would you rank these?
Probably number one that I've seen so far would be Snapchat. I think reason why this is for kids is because it's advertised as you send this snap to somebody and it just disappears. It doesn't stay around on the app or whatever. Well, that's completely not true. They advertise it that way, but I've done search warrants and stuff on Snapchat, and there's pretty much everything they've ever sent is stored there, because as soon as you take a picture on their application, they own your images. You're no longer privacy to that. The company owns your images. It's the same thing with Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. Once you post something or send something across their platform, they own your image. So but Snapchat's the big one right now. Second one, I would probably say, I haven't seen a lot of it, but I know a lot of guys and girls in my line of work that Roblox is like a game or something on line. I don't know exactly what it is because I never played it. My kids are still young, so they're not messing with it. I heard that's probably about the number one thing where kids are being preyed on is on that game. Another one I would probably say Instagram. Instagram's getting very popular. I don't understand Instagram. I've always been a Facebook person because I was one of the first people who come across that you had to have an actual college email address to get on Facebook. So
you're aging yourself,
Gary.
You're aging yourself real quick, my guy.
I'm not 40 yet, but I'm starting to scare the doors.
Not 40 yet, but 45 in your heart.
Yeah.
And in your social media usage.
My social media usage is horrible. Definitely, I'm definitely out of touch with ways of social media posting and that kind of stuff. I got Instagram. I have no idea how it works. I'm like, it's just pictures. Where's the context behind it? I don't understand. I'm used to reading stuff and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'm definitely dating myself. So.
Gary, the total juxtaposition of I don't know anything about social media to I do professional investigations with all of the social media material is hilarious.
But I don't have to know the ins and outs of all the apps and stuff. I just have to know what's going on in the background and what I'm looking for at that time.
For sure.
Dare I say, you actually know social media better than any of us.
You
do. You know the back end.
I just don't know the purpose behind it and how to use the social media the right way, I guess, for the point of, I see yours all the time, Instagram, that kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, it's just not my cup of tea. I just don't jump into it. So.
Well, you hit on an interesting point with that, though, of people get really comfortable on social media. People just forget that anybody can find you on social media, and adults do it, and then that translates to children.
Right.
So can we maybe have a little bit of a conversation on boundaries around these things? How to keep your kids staying out. This entire thing is about staying safe online. That's what we're talking through here. I mean, is your answer just no social media for children? Is that your answer? That's kind of Christy's answer.
That would be 100% my answer to it. I've had conversations with my wife, and my boys are 2 and 3 right now, and I was like, there's no way, knowing what I know now, there's no need for a 12, 13, 14-year-old kid to have social media. But yeah, my advice, just be present in your kids' lives, know what they're doing. If your kid does have a smartphone, my advice is you know their password. If their password changes, know it. If you are providing your kid with a cell phone and you can't just go pick it up and thumb through their device and they go absolutely insane about what you're seeing, there's something wrong. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't be putting anything out there that they wouldn't want you to know. I know they are, but if that becomes a ritual of them, basically anytime you say, let me see your phone, they freak out about it. There's something else going on, something you need to dig deeper into. Even adults, I know there's a lot of people in my world, friends I have, their spouses don't even know their passwords to their phones, which I think is absolutely crazy.
Yeah. What you hiding?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Even if you're not hiding anything, it's like, okay, what's the point of them not knowing passwords on your phone? So the wife and I, we made it a deal when we started. We all know each other's passwords. Pick up social media, text messages, whatever. It doesn't matter. But yeah, kids, people are like, oh, kids need privacy. No, kids don't need privacy. They haven't earned privacy yet. So, and like I said, their brains are still developing, so they're not making the best choices. So
it's funny. I was talking to some of the girls because we're obviously, like, I have a 12-year-old. He doesn't have social media. We haven't done that. But for school, he's had to have an iPad. And so we're navigating this world of like iChat and interactive games. And so we as a family, we put Bark on our router at home. And he has it on his iPad, but he's already figured out how to bypass it. So I've had to like go through it because in so many ways, these guys are smarter than we are technology wise. Right. Mm-hmm. They're intuitive about it. And I've discovered like his friend would send a video on YouTube. Well, YouTube is one of the things I have blocked as far as like not KidsTube, but full on YouTube on our home browser, just because it's so much of a wild card, right? And so his friends were helping him go through and they were chatting back and forth. So I'm looking at his text messages and they're chatting about how to go through and bypass it. So it is incredibly challenging, right? Because you've got kids that are so much smarter than you. But one of the spaces I've been trying to figure out that I would love your thoughts on is more of like the interactive games. So like, for example, you know, this weekend he was playing Brawl Stars with some of his friends from school with the online chats. What are you seeing with some of those interactive online gaming apps, and whether it be video games or whatever, where they're able to chat and play? Are you finding a lot of predators on those sites?
I haven't received many tips from them. It's a little harder to do on a gaming platform because it's not recorded. Your chats on a gaming platform aren't typically recorded. But I know, having friends with kids and stuff like that, they've heard conversations and stuff that are going on in these chats while their kids are playing, and it might just be cussing at the kid or calling them names or threatening them or something like that. But there are, like I said, that Roblox game or whatever, their predators are fixated on that for some reason. I don't know exactly why. I hadn't dug deep into that yet. That hadn't gotten to that realm as yet. I grew up gaming, but a lot of our stuff didn't have crosstalk and stuff online and that kind of stuff until here recently, Xbox and that kind of stuff came out. In my opinion, you really don't have a need to chat with anybody online. I know Call of Duty and stuff, you can squat up and you can talk about what you're doing and that kind of stuff, but if beyond that, you really don't need to be chatting with anybody online because you don't know who they are.
For sure.
And you can learn a lot of information about people online because they'll just be playing with kids online and be like, hey, where you're from, that kind of stuff. They can listen to background noises, people talking. Oh, you sound like you're from Texas. You're from Texas? Yeah, I'm from Texas. Well, what parts? I'm from blah, 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 even though they're not. And they just, kids like to tell stuff. All you got to do is ask them a question. They're very forthright and don't really lie about stuff when you just straight up ask about it, unless you're the parent asking, of course.
Technicalities.
Yeah, my 3-year-old's learning about lying right now. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, I don't really see a need. I still play games to this day, and even Call of Duty and stuff. I don't have a need to talk to anybody on there because all it is people cussing at each other, calling people's names, talking bad about their mamas, that kind of stuff. So there's really,
you should never do that.
Oh no, you shouldn't. I don't even have a headset to even listen or talk to people on. I'd mute everybody as soon as stuff goes on. But that's what I would do. Unless I would probably just talk to your kids. If you don't know them, if you're not going to school with them, don't talk to them online. If you've never seen this person face to face, don't communicate with them online because you don't know what they're there for. So.
Well, I think so there's levels to this, right? I don't have children, so I'm not personally navigating this, but I have a lot of nieces and nephews. I'm around a lot of kids. I do a lot of conversations with people about anti-grooming and how to help little kids find safe people and be a safe person. Right. So what age? We're saying they don't need smartphones, they don't need online gaming. And you kind of hinted at the 11, 12 age range. At what age do we start introducing this stuff, and what are the parameters around it?
To me, I see no point in social media, but that's just me personally.
Forever.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it for my boys is probably going to be until you can afford your own phone plan, you're just going to do what I say. But as far as parents, if it teaches on, my deal is just be engaged with them, know what they're on, know what apps are on their phone. I got guys at work that restrict their internet access. They'll shut their kid's phone off to all they can do is call a couple people, normally them or certain people during school hours to keep kids from texting and playing online so they actually pay attention. You can do the same thing at any point in time. As far as recommending ages, it's hard for me to recommend an age range. I've seen everything from little kids. I had one case, it was a 4-year-old whose mom let her watch TikTok. And they would get her accounts on TikTok and just give her the cell phone and here, watch this, funny videos and that kind of stuff. And she ended up recording herself in the bathtub. And that was luckily not sent out. It was just uploaded to the platform. And then I had to tell the mom, hey, this is what happened. She's like, oh, she wasn't supposed to take that in the bathroom with her. I'm like, she's 4.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend any of that kind of stuff. If you're going to watch TikTok or something like that, YouTube, my boys don't watch it unless they're either watching it with us or we're in the same room they are, or they're sitting on their Papa D's lap watching TikTok or Little Teapot or whatever it is they watch with him. But it's just it's got to the point where you really just can't trust social media. There's so many predators and stuff online, and they're not even just predators from the U.S. I've gotten stuff from India. I've seen stuff from the Japan IP addresses. Just there's no.
Just opens
it opens up.
World.
Yeah. I mean, the internet links you with anybody across the world, and that's what the real scary part is.
I feel like as parents, sometimes we need to give ourselves permission to be more strict. Like, it is okay to be the strict parent. And I've decided, like, I'm the strict parent, but I also always have, one or two friends that are a little bit more strict than I am. So I can be like, well, so-and-so is also strict. But it's okay. It's okay to protect your children. It's okay to err on the side of caution and to not have all of the latest apps and all of the latest technology. And they're going to give you a guilt trip because they're kids. But at the end of the day, the danger and the risk associated with some of these things and the destruction that it can bring about in a life, like, it is okay to be strict, right? I mean, that's what I hear you saying.
100%. Yeah, I'm going to be probably one of the strictest parents just because of my background and what I've learned so far in my 13-year career in law enforcement is the world is I hate to say, a big, scary place.
It is.
And there's a lot of predators out there, and there's a lot of people looking to take advantage of people, and it's not just kids, it's elderly people when it comes to financial crimes and that kind of stuff. So as far as being strict, what I can tell just parents out there is be the level of strict you're comfortable with. If you want to be the lockdown parent, be the lockdown parent. Don't have no shame behind it. Every parent is different. Every kid is different. Some kids you can give more leeway to. I mean, I wouldn't just let them go wild and just say, oh, go do whatever you're going to do, because that's a lot of what I'm finding is parents not being engaged. Basically, just leave me alone. Here's your tablet. Here's your phone. Just go do whatever you want. I want to enjoy my own time. Don't want to be bothered by you. That kind of thing is what I'm finding to be very prevalent right now. But no, be as strict as you want to. I mean, when I was growing up, I thought my parents were the strictest people in the world. I had friends when I was in high school that would stay out till 2 o'clock in the morning and stuff like that. And I was a senior in high school when I still lived on my parents' roof, and I had to be in the house by 9:30. I'm 18 years old. We were still under my roof. I'm like, okay. I mean, it is what it is. It kept me out of a lot of trouble. I had a lot of friends that got in a lot of trouble and realized that they were looking out for me. So basically just look out for your kids. And like I said, there's always going to be somebody more strict than you. There's always going to be people less strict than you, but just find what you're comfortable with and do you.
Yeah. Well, I think that, predators are going to enter this space.
Oh, yeah.
So you better enter this space as well.
Right.
You better enter this conversation with your kids, because predators they're smart and they know how to.
Right.
And they're going to, if they have the opportunity to. If we decide we can't look at it, if we decide we don't want to be strict, if we decide we don't want to deal with it, they will. Here's
an eye-opening thing for you. Y'all probably didn't know there's actually a thing. It's basically the Pedophile's Bible. Basically, there's it's like a 400 or 200 to 400 page basically manuscript type thing teaching you how to groom kids and what to look for to find kids to groom. I mean, it goes into talking about if you want to get closer to kids, look for a lady who has kids, the dad's not in the picture, kind of a bad home life, that kind of stuff. They're the ones you target, basically. Jeez. Or look for kids whose parents aren't engaged with them, kids who tell you that they're disgruntled with their parents, that kind of stuff. It's out there. It gets shared amongst these predators and stuff, and it's pretty sick, but it goes into pretty graphic details and basically how to start grooming these kids as far as just contacting them or steps to take to make them desensitized to what's actually happening. So it's pretty bad.
I've been in this space for a long time, Gary. This is the first time I've heard of this book. Have you heard of this book before?
No.
This is, it's disturbing, especially because of all of the conversation I hear where people want to tell me that grooming is not a real thing.
Oh, 100% is a real thing.
100%
That's the most grooming thing I've ever heard. If
Right?
someone tells you grooming is not a real thing, they're actually grooming you.
But
Yeah.
I'm telling
They're
you,
trying
I'm
to groom
having
you
these
right now.
conversations.
Yeah.
I'm having these conversations where people are like, oh no, that's made up. That's political rhetoric. That's somebody wanting you to believe that somebody's coming after your kid that's not. And you're sitting here telling me that there is a pedophile playbook, that people are actively employing strategies. So it's not only is grooming a real thing, but now the strategies behind grooming
Right.
Yeah.
are being actively taught and disseminated.
Right. The grooming is one thing. Basically, there's that whole network. These people, these predators, most of the time, they're not the only predator that they know. They share their stuff with other people. They give tips and tricks, just like on YouTube, hacks and how the stuff works. They they pass that information along too. They tell each other, hey, we use this app or this platform or something, because they don't monitor it as well, or it's based overseas, so they can't figure it out, or the information on this actually disappears after a certain amount of time, whatever you said. It's just, there's so much out there, and it's constantly evolving. They've even got peer-to-peer networks where basically you have to know their sign-in for this peer-to-peer share group in order to share stuff. It's kind of hard to intercept that kind of stuff. So it's very in depth. I'm just dipping my toe in the water right now. I mean, I say that, but I've jumped in, but still learning the basics of it. I've never actually formally went to an actual school on this so far. Luckily, I'm going within the next 2 weeks to an actual week-long school to try to make sure what I'm doing is the best way to go about doing stuff. So still new to it, but yeah, no, grooming is 100% a real thing. Not saying every predator's seen this playbook.
Yeah, of course. But it exists.
It exists. And if they want to find more information, more information is available to them.
Like I said, they look for broken families. They look for moms that multiple kids, possible multiple child fathers, that kind of stuff. It just tells you how to worm your way into them. I mean, a lot of it starts with just getting close enough to the kid, have them sitting on your lap, and it goes from there. It's very detailed, so it definitely a different perspective on it. So most people I think don't even know that there is a playbook, and there's actual stickers and that kind of stuff that are involved in it too. They have their own little mascot called the Pedo Bear. That's an actual mascot for them. So,
do you see the pedo bear out and around? Do you know what it is?
Very rarely.
Yeah.
But I have seen it before. But of course, when you pull these cars over and stuff like that, they're like, "Oh, I just like the sticker."
Yeah.
And it's hard to prove. There's not much you can get, and much they're going to give you in any way. So, went through a whole class before on interdicting on the interstate, child trafficking or human trafficking, that kind of stuff. There's little trinkets and stuff that they'll hang from their cars or that kind of stuff to signal other people that this is what I'm into, and it might just look harmless, and most people don't pay attention to it, but it's there.
Now, you just finished working a trafficking case, didn't you?
I'm still in the middle of one right now, actually.
Is there anything you can share with us about it?
Yeah, so it all started like in the last episode we're talking about. Most of my realm starts in child pornography deal. I got a tip on this guy. He basically promoted a video of an adult male having a sexual encounter with a young prepubescent male. Went from there, dug down the rabbit hole, got enough for an arrest warrant for him, got him arrested. We seized his cell phone. Well, wrote a search warrant for the cell phone, started digging into it. When you write a search warrant, it's not carte blanche. You can go look wherever you want to look. So basically, if I'm looking for child porn, child sex abuse material, I got to start using that a little bit more. Child sex abuse material, I mean, I can go into applications where videos and that kind of stuff can be sent, but it doesn't give me rights to go into your bank account. It doesn't give me rights to go into your Cash App account. It doesn't give me permission to go into like your Expedia or Booking.com, that kind of stuff. But when I was going through it, another app that I found a lot of this stuff on is Kick. I don't know if you heard of Kick before. It's another social media app. Basically, you get in chat rooms or you can chat with certain people, and that's all it is basically like a big chat room type deal. And you can set it, of course, where your conversations expire and that kind of stuff. They'll delete themselves out, but videos, that kind of stuff can be sent on there. So as I was going through that, I found that this guy was talking to other people and soliciting a young female. He claimed she was 18 at the time. He was also soliciting out his wife for prostitution and wife's friend. So I found that as I was going through. And once I find that kind of stuff, I have to go and write another search warrant to dig deeper into that. So basically, my second search warrant was basically anything tied to promotion of prostitution, basically payment transactions, lodging stays, booking, any type of app that could do hotel or motel rentals, that kind of stuff. Even went into Uber because I saw in these messages and stuff that this guy said he was picking up this girl, or she was at this motel, or that kind of stuff. So I even did his Uber account. Basically, I just went from there and dug more into the rabbit hole. So far, I've been able to lock down that he was contacting this female, going to pick her up outside of our city, bring her back into our city, for her to be prostituted out, and then getting her a ride back home. Found more than one of these occasions that this has happened. So in Texas, under 18 years of age, it's being trafficked by any means. So it doesn't have to be forced. It doesn't have to be coerced. It's basically you're just picking them up, transporting them, providing them an avenue in order to be prostituted out, or prostituting them out in general. I sat down with this young lady and talked to her, and it breaks your heart because all this she thought she brought upon herself. Mm-hmm. And this started when she was 15. So she didn't know what she was doing at the time, and she just straight up said she was just trying to look to make some money. Yeah. And then she had this guy who she was introduced to by a family member, and that's how their connection got started. So, and it just went down from there. Luckily, hopefully I'm about to file this case in the next week. And I think it might be one of the first, I'm going with actual continuous trafficking of persons with this case. It might be one of the first ones of our department to do the continuous trafficking of persons. So we'll see if it works or not. This guy was very, I hate to say smart, but he was very confident in what he was doing, and was able to hide stuff. And it's just, the more, you just got to dig into it. So trafficking comes in a lot of different ways. I mean, most of our area is probably prostitution. It's, for law enforcement, it's kind of hard a lot of times to prove trafficking as per se for the law, because basically you have to have somebody saying that I was forced to do this, or I was coerced into doing this, or basically have somebody come forward. Whereas luckily with her, was a juvenile and under the age of 18 when this is going on, so it's any means necessary. So just, if he's providing her with money to do this, or if he's providing her with drugs to do this, it's just, it's a lot easier when they're underage. But as far as adults and stuff go, it gets pretty difficult.
Yeah, I do appreciate that Texas has made that distinction so clear of, really it's across the United States now, but with minor trafficking, that you don't have to go through and prove the force, fraud, or coercion. Right. That it's just like, hey, this is a kid, and kids should not be selling themselves. They don't have the ability to sell themselves. Mm-hmm. And so, even reclassifying all of it under child abuse, under child trafficking, I see those as big steps forward in the fight against it, but it's still amazing to me how high the numbers are.
Mm-hmm. And it's gotten easier. Like I said, social media has made it easier. Yeah. They don't even have to be in the same state for somebody to meet up with somebody or make this promotion of prostitution thing or trafficking happen. It could just be, hey, I know this girl, she's at this location, she's willing to do this if you go there, and that kind of stuff. So it's a lot more prevalent than you think it is, but it's still, it's hidden. That's the main part of it. I know in y'all's realm it's a little bit different what could you consider trafficking, but in law enforcement realm, most of the time it's just, they're just being prostituted. It's not trafficking, that kind of stuff. Whereas y'all's, I think anything drug related, when it comes to sex with drugs and part of it is part of trafficking for y'all, where it's different on the law side of it. So so I got to think about it in two different ways when talking with y'all about it, as opposed to law.
A lot of survivors we talk to, depending on what country they're in, this self-blame is actually very common. Right. And the not identifying themselves as a trafficking victim can be very common, because they did receive some type of money or some type of, they had a legitimate need that was exploited. And so I think that having a need, quote unquote, met can add confusion to that. Whereas we definitely, we're advocates in this space. So we're like, no, you were trafficked in that. And I do appreciate that. Under 18 now. It's finished and it's done. In our last episode, you talked a lot about, so we've talked about online safety, but in our last episode, you talked a lot about how predators don't look like what we think they look like.
Right.
And it's a lot of trusted males, which a lot of us interact with, actually. You were saying that you see a lot of pastors and police officers and firemen and...
I wouldn't say a lot. I've seen it. It's not, those aren't the only cases.
Of
and
course,
stuff.
yes.
But it's, I can't say it's rare and I can't say it's uncommon, but from what I've seen, it just, there's no telling exactly
what it is.
It shouldn't say, I've had ones that have been firefighters and police officers, ex-police officers, and but mainly it's just people who you wouldn't ever think it was that person. They are some of the ones that you 100% can look at and say, yeah, that was him. I had a long haul truck driver, and you can look at him and be like, yeah, he's quote unquote a pervert. You can just tell by just demeanor, that kind of stuff. But most of the time, you're not gonna be able to tell.
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot of them are narcissistic. They're well spoken. They're good at the whole verbal communications and stuff when it comes to contacting people. It's just there is no set look or actions and stuff. But yeah, a lot of them, if they weren't trusted or trustworthy, then they wouldn't be able to get their victims.
Yeah.
So
when we're talking online safety, you're like, get your kids offline. That's kind of your stance on that.
That would be 100% my stance. I know it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But to be 100% safe, that would be your biggest
take on
suggestion.
That.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about in-person safety.
In-person safety.
We got kids going around, teachers going around, youth groups going around, firemen, police officers, all of these people. Mm-hmm. What are your in-person safety tips for kids?
The best thing is don't ever be alone with anybody. There's no need for you to be. You have your parents, of course. You're gonna be alone with your parents, but there's no need for you to be ever alone with an adult that isn't your parent. Mm-hmm. I would even go to extended family. Really, we've seen where kids have been sexually abused by aunts, uncles, cousins, that kind of stuff. It's just there's really no need for a kid to be alone with a non-parent. We got cases right now where it's step-parents or parents' boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever that's the perpetrator. It's very difficult in the in-person stuff to stay safe. But youth groups, meeting groups in general, I wouldn't even recommend for kids, especially young adults, don't ever be alone with anybody of the opposite sex. It just invites too much of one, temptation for you to do stuff you shouldn't do, or two, we've had plenty of false accusations and stuff happen. One of my good friends, his son's friend got accused of something here recently, and it's like 100% didn't happen, but it's just you're inviting the possibility of these accusations being made against you. So one-on-one time stuff even going on dates, I wouldn't even advise kids and stuff these days going on dates by themselves. Even as a young adult these days, if I had to do the dating scene over again, I'd be absolutely terrified. Because all it takes is accusations, even if you didn't do anything, and it can just turn your world upside down. But yeah, in person is almost just as difficult as online. Online you can cut it off, but you have to interact with people on a day-to-day deal. So just that's my advice, is there's no need for you to be alone. Even the wife and I have talked about our kids spend the night at somebody else's house. We've seen that before, where kids been perpetrated on by a friend's dad or mom or cousin, brother, whatever.
We're
that's
big
in the house.
anti-sleep sleepover
Right.
people over here.
I am
It
definitely-
happens almost every podcast. Somebody brings it up.
does.
Yeah.
Anti-sleepovers.
Right, yeah. And I went to plenty of friends' house growing up and stuff like that, but it's, I'd hate to say as a male, you're a little bit safer sleeping over at your friend's house and that kind of stuff, but the more and more these days, you're still not.
Yeah.
These child predators, they have preferences, and there's preferences for
Yeah.
males and females.
Yeah.
It's out there.
It's reality.
But yeah, no, I mean, I spent the night at kids' houses all the time when I was a kid growing up, and now that I look back in, all we did was get in trouble because their parents didn't care what we were out doing. Ding dong ditch, ring somebody's doorbell at 2 o'clock in the morning and take off running. That's the kind of stuff we did.
We got Ring cameras now.
Yeah, you
they
can't
catch
even do
them
that no
kids.
more.
Those
But-
Facebook groups, they catch them kids. The Karens in the neighborhood groups, they were saying, "Get your kids."
Yeah. So and there's a lot more now, social media wise, and that kind of stuff. I mean, I've seen kids grouped together doing stupid stuff and posting it on social media. Deal just come across my deal the other day. A couple boys that were probably 8, 9 years old flashing their genitalia to the camera on
Goodness.
TikTok or whatever, just being goofy, and that gets out there. I mean,
Yeah.
you can go everywhere. It's just, sleepovers. Yeah, and the wife and I decided, no, our boys aren't sleeping over anywhere. Nor do I want somebody else's kids
Yeah.
staying the night at my house for the same reason. You're just inviting potential problems when that stuff happens. So
Yeah. I get it. Okay, as we're wrapping up, I do have one question because both of you mentioned there's just so many apps out there that help parents do this. Both of you were like, yeah, there's apps. There's great apps that help parents do this, great apps. Can we get some specifics on some apps that both of you like to use or that you recommend for people so that it's not this elusive thing, but we know?
I haven't gone down that hole yet because I don't have kids
okay.
that do that. So I don't know the mirroring apps and that kind of stuff. I haven't learned those. I'm learning more of what they shouldn't be doing as opposed to that kind of deal is app-wise. But I know a lot of phones themselves, if you set up on the same network, you can get where your phone can mirror the other kids. Google's your friend. It'll tell you whatever apps and stuff you need. But it
Google's
also,
your friend, but not your kid's friend.
yes,
Let's
because they'll
clarify
use
that.
Google the same way to figure out a
Uninstall
way
those
to
apps,
uninstall
yeah.
it and that kind of stuff. So that's why periodically you should do a spot check on your
Be up
kid's
to date.
phone. It's just random times. Don't make it a set day because they can delete stuff out. It might just be one day you feel like, oh, let me see your phone. Go through it. Sit there. It might take an hour. It might take 2 hours. Sit through there. Make them sit with you. And if you have questions, that kind of stuff, because different apps, I mean, you have different passwords and all that kind of stuff. But if you don't have your kids' passwords, then they're probably hiding something or doing something they shouldn't do.
Yeah. Christy, do you have any favorite apps?
I have one that I'm using. It has drawbacks, right? I think that's all of these things, right? Like
Nothing's perfect.
nothing is perfect.
That's why parents need to be engaged.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's a conversation, and it's establishing your family culture, right? So we're using Bark right now. We did get the upgraded when he got an iPad, so I can install it on his iPad, and I can go through and I can like we don't do Roblox. Like it's just hard pass. Knowing what I know, I can't do it because if anything were to happen, I would blame myself, right? So I feel like the more you know about some of these things, there's just that personal, like, I just can't cross that line. But I can go through and I can basically, like, it won't allow pictures to be sent. So, like, they can't text pictures on our home Wi-Fi. I can go through and I can, if there's any self-harm or any like drug language, things like that, it just notifies me as the parent. So it's an ally. We're still in the young ages, right? Like I have a 12-year-old. They go all the way up to a Bark phone, but really it's just about having enough checks and balances that it fosters conversation, right? Because I can't control everything, and I'm not looking to control everything. I'm looking to keep him from stumbling into things and then to facilitate conversation so that I can shape worldview, right? So I want to be able to proactively be like, okay, this is why we have this. And even like you talked about with you and your wife having that culture of being able to pick each other's phones up and look at them, our kids pick our phones up, right? Like our phones are safe enough that my kid can get on there and text on it if he needs something. And, because it creates that mutual respect, I think. So even then when I'm like, hey, it's time for me to have your iPad, and I'm like looking in it, it's in the same as him having my phone and him sending a text to his grandpa or his aunt or whoever. There's that mutual family culture that we're creating, right? Like, we don't do devices in the bedroom. We don't, just that, we don't do devices at the dinner table. Like, but it's not just kid rules and adult rules. It's all of us partnering together to create that atmosphere that we want. So for us, we do use Bark. It's been good. If you get on there and you actually install the kid app from the App Store, there are all of these kids who hate it. And honestly, the reviews from all the kids are hilarious.
That is so funny.
It has made so many kids mad.
That is so funny.
But it's great because I feel like it's not going to stop them from doing things.
Yeah.
But it's going to put just enough obstacles in the way and give me just enough lead time on what's going on.
Yeah.
That if I'm an engaged parent, I can have those conversations.
Yeah.
I can lean in that space. Ultimately, like, from 12 to 18, you're in that process of them gaining more independence. So it really is about helping craft the way they view things more than just controlling behavior.
Yeah.
So nothing is going to be perfect, but we have found between that and then all the Apple functionality of screen time limits and things like that you can protect your kids. You just have to be intentional. You have to be in the space. You have to be having the hard conversations, and nothing is perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's exactly right. Nothing is perfect, but if you can have all these safety measures and all that kind of stuff, but if you're not willing to sit down and actually put forth effort to make sure your kid's doing what they're supposed to be doing on their phone, it's not going to work. Like I said, there's ways around it, that kind of stuff. I've had friends whose kids turned around and borrowed somebody else's phone or got a phone on somebody else's phone plan to message and stuff because their phone was locked down. It's basically, you just had to be present in your kids' lives and pay attention to what's going on with them. There is clues if something's wrong, of course. I don't know first-hand perspective right now, but there's always clues if something's going on with somebody. If they start being secretive about something, that's something you need to dig off into. But my deal is just social media in general. I think that's the world's problem right now. It always seemed like the world was a lot better before social media, but it might not have been. It wasn't as in your face as it is now.
Yeah.
But it definitely gives people a platform to be more confrontational than they would, or bolder in what their strategies and stuff are, as opposed to what it used to be. So.
For sure. Well, thank you for coming and having this conversation with us today.
Oh, not a problem. Hopefully later on I'll be invited back and have some more stories stuff like that. So.
For sure. And we do know that we covered, when we talk about online safety and we talk about trafficking and predators around our children, that it's heavy. But I do hope that the listeners just really do engage with what Christy said up. This is a conversation. We're empowering you to step into this tension and to have this conversation. And thank you for opening our eyes, Gary, to a lot of very real things. We're not going to ignore this tension. There is a tension in this room, and there's a tension in this world, and predators are engaging in it, so you better engage with it with your kids. But we do just want to encourage your listeners. You can be an engaged parent. You can do this. We believe in you, and if we all just step into this space together, we can make a way safer space for kids. So thank you both for engaging in this conversation with me today. And we're excited for what's next.
I'm just going to make a statement real quick. These are my views and my views only. It has no reflection on the police department I come from or anything like that. These are completely my views and my experiences I have so far. So I just want to put that out there so nobody can take what I say and not that they would, but say, oh, this is the police department's views. No, they're strictly my own.
For sure. We appreciate you entering into that space with us. I know there's tension in it, even as you tell us about stories, and so we appreciate you sharing your perspective, your insight, what you've seen. I feel like it helps us know how to better engage, especially because you have such a unique vantage point. So thanks for coming and sharing everything with us today. We really appreciate it, and fascinating conversation. A little bit terrifying conversation.
For sure.
Certain moments.
Yeah, there's so much more we can dig into later on. This is just a very quick snippet of the stuff that's going on. So,
well, thank you for all you're doing to protect children, and we're going to be praying that trafficking case wraps up really well, because I know that there's a lot at stake there. So thanks for entering the tension and for fighting for children here in North Texas. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.